Welcome to Chentex Multimedia presentation and a live streaming from Brisbane, Australia on the 14th of December. Hey, I hope you had a wonderful weekend, and what a busy weekend it was, but it was very wet weekend as well. I must say that, people had to take extra caution. We've got lots of footage today of some floods and all that happening in the south, but today we'll also be showing you glimpses of Gopio Gold Coast and their dinner function, and of course the big BSK Awards night which happened last night. Remember, throughout the year we had been showing you glimpses of the upcoming event about this BSK Award. Well, it took place last night, and we'll show you some live footage exclusive from Australian Indian Radio and Brisbane Indian Times, as we were the media partners. Hey, looking at the weather, it's very windy, it's very wet, but let's get an update from Dilraj, and let's take a look at what's in store for us today.
Good morning everyone. Weather forecast for the rest of today is maximum 26 degree. Brisbane area is cloudy with very high chance of showers, becoming less likely in the late afternoon and evening. The chance of a thunderstorm, winds southeasterly 35 to 50 km per hour, decreasing to 30 to 40 km per hour in the middle of the day, and then turning northeasterly 15 to 20 km per hour in the evening. Abnormally high tides with possible flooding to low-lying coastal areas. Dangerous surf conditions are expected to be hazards for coastal activities such as rock fishing, swimming and surfing. Fire danger is low to moderate. Sun protection is recommended till 50 past 3, and UV index is predicted to reach 13, that is extreme. Till tomorrow, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day.
And thank you very much for that update. And as has been said, that it's very windy. You can probably hear it through the, even though we are, quite tight in this studio here, but you can still hear the wind coming in through. So, if you hear a little bit of wind, don't get too upset about that. That's what's happening out there today in that weather. Well, right now, let's go and take a look at the headlines before we go into those two events that we talked about. Exclusive coverage by Australian Indian Radio and Brisbane Indian Times. Right now, let's get up to date with the headlines with the courtesy of ABC.
Is forecast across parts of northern New South Wales and southeast Queensland as another front is predicted to deliver heavy falls. Volunteer crews have been sent out to bolster local emergency efforts with warnings in place for heavy rain, damaging winds and flash flooding. There are also warnings in place for hazardous beach and marine conditions. Residents and visitors to the area are urged to closely monitor warnings and updates in the coming days. Queensland's wet weather has brought much needed relief to emergency services on Fraser Island. Wind changes and the recent rain mean the bushfire is now contained to 3 hotspots. The fire started in mid-October and has burnt through more than 82,000 hectares of land. A former motorcycle gang president has been fatally shot in front of a crowd of people at the Kwinana Motorplex in Perth South. The 51-year-old was sitting with another Rebels member and an 8-year-old boy when he was shot at close range. The first shipments of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine are being rolled out, with the first Americans expected to be vaccinated within days. The US Food and Drug Administration authorised its emergency use following pressure from the White House. Nearly 300,000 Americans have died of the virus, and there are high hopes vaccinations will prevent a third wave.
And that's the news update for this morning. And as we heard about those floods, let's take a look at some of the flooded streets in Maroochydore.
That street's like flooded.
And don't forget the ever true claiming that if it is flooded, forget it. Don't even try it. So, be very careful. If you're driving, road is flooded, forget it. And right now also the sea foams that have was a show after this kind of storm. So let's take a look at this. And that's the wet weather and the wild weather and the stormy weather for you. This is what we can expect: hailstorms, foams, flooding, and so right now, Brisbane City Council has been putting out some emergency, notices to say how to keep safe, and there are some special packs that have been provided as well for safety. So please do take care and please do be mindful. Always look out for those notices. And if you are on the road and the road is flooded, that simple equation is: if it is flooded, forget it. Anything that's need to happen will happen, and it can wait. Well, right now, as I talked about the events that were taking place, first of all, we'll go to Gold Coast, where GoPio Gold Coast held their charity dinner. And the charity dinner was in aid of homeless kids. So there's an organization in Gold Coast which is doing wonderful job, and every night they house so many homeless kids. Now people will say, I've never heard about this, but when you actually look at the figures and the stats and the work that they're doing, you'll be alarmed that the numbers are growing as well. So we need to show our support, and hence GoPio Gold Coast did a wonderful thing because they hosted this annual fundraising dinner, but all the proceeds went to this project, a homelessness group, who has 5 or 6 homes and quite a few apartments where they properly house homeless kids. So let's go and join that, where the President, Pradeep Gaurasia, is welcoming guests.
They always saying that you need 5 strong people to help you grow anything. But I'm lucky, I have 6. So I feel like it's Roshan sometimes, the 6 figure. I'd like to introduce my committee. Vice President Mok. Second Vice President Pushpinda Oberoi. Our Secretary Madhu Sohn is not here today, but joint secretary. Businesses have plans for job keeper and job seeker and all the issues with them. And a lot of families have emotional issues because they're away from their loved ones. And some of them are overseas or interstate and they can't meet them. However, we have 2 choices. Either you can bitch about it or overcome it. And I'm glad that everyone here has overcome that, because those who are in employment have started learning new skills. Those in business, we have some creative new idea to run their business. And in terms of emotional support, families and the community got together and supported each other. We did a big drive for all the Indian students who had a problem with the food and so forth. And we organized grocery packs, helped them with the rentals, and also provided counseling. So that was some good movement from 2020 that we learned. So for 2021, what do we expect? Something much better. Because I should congratulate each and every one of you for surviving 2020. So give yourself a big hand out. I think you'll rather have the food coming soon and enjoy the singing. Thank you very much and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
So as I mentioned, that the recipient is that homelessness group, and he is the president.
I've got to absolutely thank the president and the committee. We certainly know what it's like to have a volunteer committee. It's very difficult.
So, it is wonderful to see that GoPio Gold Coast has organized this function, and is, of course, in aid of the Gold Coast President for the Homelessness Incorporated. It's an incorporated body which is helping, overcome the homelessness. And, overnight when kids go out or run away from home for whatever reason, for the night or for 2 nights, 1 week, or for however long as they need a protected shelter, they are there to provide that shelter. Well, of course, the next event I'm going to talk about is the BSK, Brisbane Super Kings cricket. And we have seen this grow from strength to strength from the very day we were sitting down and drawing a chart, and then we took over someone's office. Of course, we took over the drawing board to draw the pattern of how it was going to pan out. From those days till now, the 8th annual awards night was held last night, and it has just grown. And mostly, the amount of enthusiasm against the new players, new teams, all joining in. And this year, good to see, there was a women's team, and young girls coming in and joining in as well, and forming a girls women's cricket part there as well. So well done, Satish Rajendran, Ayappan, and Rajarajan Thenavan, and everyone who's involved, Mandeep, everyone who's involved with BSK. I think they've done a wonderful job. And of course, we were there as a guest of honor, and of course being media sponsors of the event, and the two main dignitaries were Paul Scar, who will be here in this office, this studio very soon. Maybe I think he's coming here on Friday, and we'll talk about many issues, and we'll take questions if you have any. And of course, Angela Owen Taylor, the councillor, who had arranged for the last minute, this was going to be an outdoor event into where the cricket is played. But because of the weather, in the last minute, Kellam Vale Community Hall was made available through the help of Councillor Angela Owen. So let's go and have a look, glimpses of the awards night.
May I request you to kindly say a few words as well?
And Senator Paul Scar.
Because it seems to me it represents the 3 C's. First is cricket, which we all love. Second C, children. And I was talking to Mandeep before proceedings started about how much Super Kings means to all the children involved and how they've grown in confidence over the course of the season. That's great to hear. And then the third C is community. And it's only because of the sense of community we have here today that Australia has gotten through the past year with the pandemic as strongly as we have. It's because of that sense of community here today. So I thank everyone here for your contribution and for everything you've done this year. It's an honour to be here and share the evening with you. Thank you.
But most importantly, I've been very proud as the Councillor for Kellam Vale Ward to have created a cricket pitch that you have all chosen to play at, that is part of our community. And it is so important because often you hear people saying we want to get into sport, but the barriers are that the facilities aren't there. Now, if we had been having this awards night at the Heathwood Sports Fields tonight, right now I would be flicking a switch because you now have floodlights for the cricket nets.
Thank you, Councillor. We've been working so hard, boys, for the seniors team. They've been asking for so many years, and for the juniors as well. And this is going to set a foundation for the stage 3. Thank you, boys. Thank you.
Yeah, so the other night we were out there testing them, and Satish has a photo of what they look like lit up, and I've asked him to hold off sharing that with you all until tonight because we didn't know if we were going ahead on the field or in an alternate venue. But you have the floodlights, they work, and they've been correctly positioned so that they are targeted for the nets area and don't spill over too much onto the field. But also you have a switchboard right next to the net which will operate the ball thrower. So
bowling mission, thank you.
Yeah. So
and that is wonderful to see that kind of support there from the councillor. And of course, it is that kind of support that sees us through. And of course, last night, amongst everyone else, was Queensland Cricket. And Queensland Cricket is always there to support the youngsters and encourage the team. And as last night Satish said, that very soon we'll see all our young stars on TV. So here's the message from Cricket Australia.
Also need to do a big thank you to Councillor who invested so much money into doing up the Heathwood facility over the past couple of months and well into the future. It's awesome that we're getting more and more junior teams moving forward. I think only in the first year playing junior cricket, stage 1, 2 and 3, it's good to have about 5 or 6 teams and a couple of them being girls. As the club does get bigger, we're going to need more coaches and more support from the community. So if you're out there and your kids are playing, do feel free to jump into the training session one day and help them out. I know they'll all love it. But yeah, other than that, big shout out to the club, everyone behind closed doors that do a big, do a great job, and we're proud to be part of the community.
Just to second what John said, I'll probably more relay a lot of the work I do with the parents, so you out there in the crowd. Thank you so much for the work you do. These children standing in front of us, we've got them playing all across Queensland and all across the country, so they wouldn't be able to do what they do without you getting involved, helping out the volunteers at the club, everyone that puts in the hard work to give these kids the best opportunity they can.
And after the presentation, there was a very special presentation which was done by Senator Paul Scar, and it was a presentation to Satish Rajendran, who is the brainchild behind all of BSK.
We started this tradition of giving a special award. So this is a signed jumper from Sachin Tendulkar. So for Satish. But
a signed jersey by Sachin Tendulkar.
I wasn't sure you were going to get anything this time around, so I actually brought something. I was going to give it to you as well. So Angela's just going to get, no, that's, Angela, that's actually for you. That one's for you. That's an original copy of a photograph of the Thai Test match at the Gabba. So that's for Councillor Angela Owen. And then Satish, I brought something along for you in case you didn't receive anything. So if we go into the box, so now you've got the two great batsmen. You've got Sachin Tendulkar, but also Don Bradman. So sign back.
Where would we be without Don Bradman?
So well done, mate. Thanks for everything you've done. I mean, the energy, the excitement in this place, so much of it is thanks to you. So 3 cheers for Satish. Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Hip hip. Hooray! Well done. Thank you.
Councillor Angela Owen and Paul Senator, thank you. It's thank you. I don't have words.
So there were, ladies and gentlemen, amazing to see that kind of reaction coming there from Satish. He was a bit emotional, but overall it was a very good night. And I said to Satish that yes, we have overgrown the restaurant situation, and going into a sports center like we did last night is the way to go, probably in the way forward as well. So, next year when we look at, the venues, we'll have to keep that in mind, that after the, post-COVID, we will be able to get more people. So planning in this way would be, more desirable. Well, right now, let's get into the other news for today. But before we do that, let's take a very quick look at some of our sponsors. And this live stream today is proudly sponsored by Gaura Travels, with the interactive 24/7 website, and of course the special announcement that flight going on the 21st, which is 7 days from now. If you haven't booked, there are some seats still available, and you can book the flights on that flight on the 21st. So right now, let's get into the news in brief. And of course, on the top of the list is what's happening in India. Let's look at the bit of a progress. And of course, we are getting different kinds of mixed messages coming across. But here's the official news. So angry scenes from the street of Delhi, and of course we have seen protests happening or taking place worldwide, and of course we have seen that mishap, around the statue of Mahatma Gandhi in Washington, and we'll bring to you, if I get hold of that clip, as well of what's happening there, which is not really good. You have to have respect for the past, nation builders. So anyway, they have not come to an agreement. Meetings are happening, talks are going on, but an agreement has not yet been reached, and it has dragged on so far. Well, right now coming back back home is floodwaters everywhere.
Well, Jan, it's good to see a bit of rain back up in these parts again. Yeah, McCarthy Road is she's a little bit over. It's been the second time tonight. Looking good.
The flood might be a temporary hindrance, but it is welcome, as we have seen from the other news that in Fraser Island, everything that they tried with the helicopters, with the water bombers, but come natural rain, it's taken care of that, and it is much welcome. Well, right now, the previously dry Queensland is now a riverbed raging with significant rainfall. And it is not over yet, because cyclone-like conditions are forecast for parts of Queensland and New South Wales. Here's that news.
Had quite a number of jobs overnight, so dozens of jobs overnight, but over the weekend we've had over 700 requests for assistance. We have seen quite very heavy rainfall over the weekend, and we have experienced five flood rescues during Saturday.
What are the hardest hit regions? Can you break us down? What areas have been really hit with this torrential rain and flooding?
Yeah, so the busiest areas have been the mid-north coast and northern New South Wales, really focusing in the Tweed Heads and Mullumbimby areas.
And have there been any evacuations because of this flooding, caravan parks, areas like that? Any homes evacuated?
There were some minor evacuations in Sawtell previously over Friday, but since then there haven't been any other evacuation warnings issued or evacuation orders.
Is the worst over for New South Wales? Have we seen the worst of this wild weather for northern New South Wales? And what will authorities be doing today?
So we are expecting further rainfall up to 150 millimetres mid-morning today. So we are asking residents to be mindful of where they're going, and if they come across flooding over, particularly flash flooding over roads, to take an alternate route. And potentially there is also coastal erosion that may occur in northern New South Wales as well.
So the worst...
So there's, the West is not over yet, as has been said, and, we have seen quite a lot of scenes which have been coming around. Here's a very quick look at Canagra Creek. Westing sides there. And the other New South Wales roads. And this next scene is from Mount Tamborine, where motorists, just got off themselves and cleared the road themselves, so without waiting for SES to come. Here's that sort. That's a good old Queensland spirit. Everyone gets down and just does the job.
This is half of our group, by the way, everybody.
How good is that? Mates helping mates, just get down to it and get it done. Get it over with and move on. That's the spirit. But right now, before we go into other news, let's take a look at one of our other sponsors for the day.
GlobeNet Realty. GlobeNet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Washa Chandra, Director of GlobeNet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. GlobeNet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. GlobeNet Realty. Real estate is our world.
And yes, real estate is the world, and they'll talk about real estate and what's happening in the market, areas to invest in, and what's happening with the property values, capital gains, and a lot. So every Wednesday we bring to you a real estate update with Usha Chandra. So, watch out for that this Friday. Well, right now everyone's talking about the vaccine. The new vaccine is Pfizer prepared. Pharmaceutical company Pfizer is preparing to roll out millions of doses of its COVID-19 vaccine after it received emergency approval from FDA to begin the inhalation. So, that will be wonderful to see it all roll out. Well, country singer Charlie Pride, dies at 86. We all remember Charlie Pride in a beautiful, all the songs that he played.
Well, I've been listening to the Grand Ole Opry. My dad, he did all of the, we had a Philco radio, and we couldn't touch the knobs. He did everything we listened to is what he tuned it to. So I got listening to the Grand Ole Opry when I was small, and I got hooked on it, and it just went from there. I had no idea that I was preparing myself for this, but I'm glad, especially since I didn't make it in baseball.
Sleeping under a table in a roadside bar, a man could break up, but it sure seemed warmer than it could. Sleeping in our inside bed.
A lot of people, would come and say, "Man, you must have had it hard." I said, "No." And I said, and when I would talk to people like yourself, like I'm talking to a reporter, I'll say, well, I have not had one iota hoot call from the audience. I said, uh-oh, you give me that, I can't believe you got to be lying, look. So I tell them, I said, well, I start naming, I've got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I said, right between Gladys Knight and Leonard Bernstein.
Would they be disappointed if we let our morals fly? Are we losing family values? Did we push God aside?
Well, there you go, Charlie Pride, no more. He died at age 86, and reports are that he had complications related to COVID-19. Well, he may be no more, but his voice lives on. And of course, those songs everyone grew up with, and now those, beautiful numbers that he always put out. Well, right now, the industrial relations laws, as we had last week, that as soon as it was put out, it was also repealed. So in the final week of Parliament of the year, the government's proposal to change our workplace laws ignited a heated partisan row and a sign perhaps of what's in store for 2021.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Morning, everyone. Good?
The government and the unions are gearing up for a showdown over a raft of changes to workplace laws.
Labor will be fighting this piece of legislation.
This isn't about fights.
Morrison government's just introduced laws into Parliament that will allow employers to cut workers' take-home pay.
This is a nasty act from a nasty government.
There are things in this bill that the unions won't particularly love.
This legislation is actually going to hurt the heroes of the pandemic.
There was no consultation with unions about some of these draconian measures.
Everything in this bill is designed to ensure that there are more jobs for more people.
I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you.
We want workers to be better off. We want workers to not have their pay and conditions cut.
Everyone's worse off if a business fails and hundreds of jobs go.
If there's no better off test, then every penalty rate and shift allowance is at risk.
Workers who stack supermarket shelves 5 nights a week from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. could lose up to $5,500 a year.
A cleaner working part-time could lose $6,600 a year.
A cook working 6 a.m. to 2 p.m, 5 days a week, including weekends, could lose more than $6,000 a year.
There are a range of protections to ensure that that scenario would never arise.
Our changes, Mr Speaker, back the necessity to get Australians back into work.
It's the worst thing since work choices.
You can't sack me, really.
The last Prime Minister to be adventurous on workplace laws lost government and his own seat, and Labor's looking for a fight to turn its political fortunes around.
The federal government's indicating it could drop one of the most contentious parts of its industrial relations bill.
I don't think they're the most important part of the bill, I must say.
The government hasn't abandoned this yet. There's no amendments proposed.
Will the Prime Minister back down on the cut to take-home pay that he claims he hasn't made?
No, we won't, because we haven't done it.
We won't be voting for legislation that cuts workers' pay.
The Labor Party, Mr Speaker, are stuck in the past on these issues.
The government will keep that dialogue going. Thank you all.
And there's those new laws that have been proposed, and by the looks of it, it's not going nowhere with no support from Labor. And of course, there's been quite a bit of uproar by the unions and of course many other bodies there as well. And I think the news that's been coming out is that certain sections or portions of that would in fact be wound back. Well, right now, let's take a very quick look at all of the functions and events that are taking place. But before that, a quick mention about some of the flights that are going out of Brisbane to India, especially the flights that have been arranged by our sponsors, Gaura Travel. And they have arranged for these flights, which are chartered flights going out of Brisbane. Next one is going out on the 21st. And as I mentioned, that the flight going out on the 21st, and of course there will be another one going on 29th of January from Brisbane. For all other flights going out of other cities, you can log on to their website www.gauratravel.com.au, the 24-hour interactive website, and you'll find all the information about some of the other flights that would be going to India under the current circumstances, and with all the information about how to go about and how to book with the award-winning Gaura Travels. Well, right now, let's go to the functions and events that are taking place in and around Brisbane. And of course, it is good to see that many functions are now happening in person. So, it is good to see people out and about a lot more than before. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I'd have to say goodbye for today's segment. And don't forget that this live stream has been proudly sponsored by Gaura Travels, www.gauratravel.com.au. Well, until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me. It's been wonderful having your company. It's always so good to see you. And do take care if you are driving around. Remember, if it's flooded, forget it. Please do take care, as we know that lots of people are out and about. And I'll tell you what, yesterday we were at the Pacific Fair in Gold Coast. And my God, the number of people there, jam-packed, crowded. Good to see the number of people out and about. But I think we need to be very careful and take care and exercise extra caution wherever possible. And as we know at this point in time, people are trying to book holidays. Every place is booked out. People are finding it very hard to get rental cars and things like that. So, if you haven't booked, you might have left it till a little bit late. There are some deals which are still available, but, if you have to make any bookings, do it right now. Don't leave it till tomorrow, otherwise you'll get caught. Well, right now, it's time to say goodbye. It's wet out there. Remain safe and also remain COVID safe as well. So until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me.